Welcome to the Ed Show. Let's talk about it. Today we have Mayor of Ponchatoula, Mayor Bob Zabbia. Welcome to the show, Mr. Zabbia.
Thank you, Eddie. It's a pleasure to be here. You know, we've known each other a long time. I feel privileged to be here.
Oh, thank you. And would you tell us about some of the things that is happening around Ponchatoula? I know that we got a new transportation system that's going to be taking place soon, and we have the Walmart and
Eddie, we just fresh out of a council meeting and adopted our 2014-15 budget, which is the largest budget I think that the city of Ponchatoula has seen in its history, a little over $7 million. We're up about $700,000 from previous years. And included in that budget, Eddie, for the first time, is we will be partnering with the voluntary Tangipahoa Voluntary Council on Aging to implement a public transportation system within the city of Ponchatoula. We were able to put an amendment on the budget last night to fund that to the tune of $32,000 with another $32,000 match from the Council on Aging. And Eddie, what that will do, and we're in the very early stages of that, and I committed to the council last night that we would try to move implementation of that program forward in the next 60 to 90 days and hopefully have it in place no later than that. And Eddie, what we'll be doing in the next couple of weeks is establishing a route, and there'll be several bus stops along that route, and there'll be pickups and deliveries, and the rotation of the route is going to be within an hour. So the goal is to be at that stop every hour at that time. Now, we know we haven't established all the routes, but Eddie, we do know that one of the stops will be North Oaks for the medical needs of the community. And the good thing about that is that Hammond's route already has a stop at North Oaks, so that if anyone in Ponchatoula wants to go forward to Hammond, they can transfer on to Hammond's public transportation there. Eddie, there will be a 50-cent charge every time you board the bus. And then it'll be, so to speak, $1 round trip. So pretty good. I think that's something we've been looking at for a while. The opportunity presented itself about 2 weeks ago, and the council agreed, and so we have that funding. That is something that we can all be looking forward to in the coming year.
oh, that sounds great. That is great. Then that would be public transportation for everyone, or for senior citizens?
For everyone, that's correct. Primarily for senior citizens, those who do not have vehicles and need to get places. Some of the established spots, I'm sure, will be at the shopping markets, possibly Bonings, possibly Winn-Dixie, Walmart, and then on up to the hospital, and then places within the city as well. Some stops downtown. There'll be stops probably at the Housing Authority, at Westminster. Those are just things that we've talked about, but the route will be established with the stops, and we're going to depend on some of the professionals that have done that before to help us establish that route.
Okay, that sounds great. That is good. That would be an asset to Ponchatoula.
I think so.
Yes,
very, very pleased. There was a private bus line that went from from Ponchatoula to Hammond probably 40 years ago, but that was the end of any transportation. But this is a new era for us.
Yes, it is. Okay, tell us a little bit about Walmart since it's been here in Ponchatoula.
Well, Eddie, it's really been a success story for us. From the very beginning in the planning, we worked very closely with Walmart officials, their design team, and the construction team, and all the agencies that were involved. Our Planning and Zoning Commission went through a rigorous approval process, listening to residential concerns. We were able to get Walmart to do certain things to protect the integrity of the residential area. And Eddie, some of those things included 6-foot earthen berms with 10-foot wooden fences on top of the earthen berms, landscaped on both sides. Eddie, since the opening of Walmart, I have heard of no residential complaints about noise or lighting or anything else. On the positive side, their projections were to have $40 to $75 million worth of sales a year. To the city of Ponchatoula, that means $800 to $1.5 million additional sales tax revenue. Our first reporting period was in the 20 days of April, where they were opened, and it looks like those projections are going to hold pretty true based on what we've received so far. If you haven't been in the facility, it's a very nice, very clean, very organized, with a variety of both, grocery goods plus hard goods as well. Eddie, backing up a little bit, during the planning process, there was a lot of concern about traffic on Highway 51 and the difficulty that we would have getting out of Behringer Road and Hoffman Road, and concern about the traffic signal at Campbell. We depended on the professionals and their traffic studies to guide us through that. The additional turn lane at LA 22, off of 51 on the LA 22, has worked flawlessly. The traffic signal at Campbell Lane has allowed vehicular traffic coming out of Behringer Road and Hoffman Road more ease in doing so. We have actually had, and this is very refreshing and rewarding, we've had some of the residents that live on Behringer Road that have actually told me that the traffic is better. And they said, we thought you were absolutely insane when you said that was going to, the traffic signal would help us out of Behringer and Hoffman Road. And one person that lives on Behringer Road said, I've got to eat my words. She said it has really helped. And Eddie, for the most part, we've seen no traffic issues on Highway 51 as a result of Walmart. So we're very pleased. There are other businesses that are looking to locate on Highway 51 and on LA 22. Not at liberty to say what they are at this point, but we very encouraged for the growth of that corridor.
And those businesses are coming because of the location, because Walmart located in that area?
I think that helps, but Eddie, I think that Ponchatoula and Hammond are so strategically located with the interstates, and I think that the large companies and box stores recognize that. It's taken them a while to rebuild, and I think that everything got stifled a little bit after the storm in some cases, but in other cases I think it brought more awareness to our area. When I leave here, Eddie, I'm going, I have a meeting in New Orleans at noon with the Regional Planning Commission that we are now, Southern Tangipahoa now is a part of. That allows Southern Tangipahoa, Ponchatoula, Hammond, and some of the rural areas of the parish to participate in another pot of funding for transportation. That will allow the rural areas to be able to establish a public transportation system as we're doing here in Ponchatoula. It brings more funding availability to this part of the parish. The commission down there is made up of 32 people, parish presidents, mayors, and aldermen and council members of other communities. We sit there with Billy Nungesser, with John Young, Gordon Burgess, Pratt Brister from St. Tammany Parish, New Orleans council members. As a matter of fact, this year, Moon Landrew is chairman of the commission. So it's a pretty good group of people to be sitting at the table with. Of course, Mason and Gordon and I are pretty young on that board. We haven't quite figured our way around yet. We're working on it, and we plan to bring more transportation funds to this area.
Oh, that's going to be great. That'll be great. And anything else that you would like to?
Eddie, we will, at last night's meeting in the adoption of the budget, we did put in the budget a 3% across the board pay raise for all city employees, with another 2% there left for incentive pay raises. The budget includes some major projects that we're going to be involved in, being the renovation of our water tower there at Athletic Park, some drainage improvements as well.
Well, that's great. That's great. Okay, Mayor. We've been nice talking with you, and
It's
you let
always
the
nice.
people know.
It's always nice to be with you, Eddie. I know that you and Kim have spent many times together out at the high school, and glad to see you and Kim staying active in the community.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay, Eddie.
And
It's a
thanks for
pleasure.
having you. Looking forward to seeing you on Let's Talk About It Again. This is The Ed Show. Well, we are back. Now for this segment, we have Pat Morris, television talk show host and president of the Greater Tangipahoa Parish NAACP. Welcome to the show, Miss Pat.
Thank you, Mr. Pons.
And today I would like for you to talk about some of the things that is going on in the school systems.
Oh, wow.
System. I know it's a lot going on, but just tell us some of the latest things.
Well, there is a lot going on, and many may or may not know that the system is getting together an assessment plan to determine which schools have the most problems, which schools need things fixed first. That's going to go to the lawyers, and I understand that it was allegedly turned in this week. I'm not sure of that, but I'm hearing that it was turned in this week, and it was turned into our attorneys, and it will go to Judge LaMelle, who I'm told by our attorney, by plaintiff's attorneys, the judge will ultimately decide what needs to be fixed first, what does not need to be fixed first. One thing I know will happen at Midway Elementary is the portable buildings that are on that campus. The fire chief in Natal Benny has deemed them unsafe for kids. We got pictures of them and sent them over to Attorney Nelson Taylor, and as a result, they have to move those before the start of the school year because of potential fire hazards. And if there were a fire, it's doubtful that the kids would get out in time, and we'd really have a bad situation going on there. So that's being addressed now, and as a result of it, they have to build a wing for the amount of kids that were in the trailer.
Yeah. Those trailers are pretty close together, and if a fire would break out, I hope it doesn't, it would be just about impossible for those kids to get out of there.
It would be, because when you look at the problems that would be caused, I received a copy of a letter that was sent to our superintendent, and over a period of 10 years, this same problem had been brought up, saying you need to do something because of the potential hazard. Number one, you got the buildings that are in close proximity of each other. There really isn't a way for a fire truck to get back there should there be a fire. For a portable building that we're speaking of now, it would take anywhere from 5 to 6 minutes before it would burn up, and if you have a room full of kids, you aren't going to get those kids out in time to do what you need to do to save their lives or keep them from being seriously injured. And then when the fire truck comes, you have the time that it would take for the call to be made to 911, 911 to call the fire station, the fire trucks to get there. And once they get on the campus, they would have to pull about 100 feet of fire hose back to where the fire is. And with the short time that it would take for the portables to burn, you're going to end up with a hazard. So we felt that the best thing to do would be to get the letter to Attorney Taylor, which we did, and he began to immediately address it. And as a result of that, they have been ordered to get rid of those portable buildings, and that has to be done before the start of school in August. So the clock is ticking, and I don't know how far they've gotten, but the clock is ticking.
There are other schools that has portable buildings on. They
Yes.
must be moved also.
They're going to have to move all of them. Now, Midway is the most permanent one. The next one would be Laranja Middle School, because they have a large number of portables on their campus. So it's about the safety for kids, and not only from the educational perspective, but for their own personal safety too. We have to look at that as well.
During the time when Nelson Taylor was here and he spoke a couple of months ago.
Mhm.
He mentioned that this case is coming to a close soon.
Mhm.
You have any indication on that? If that's in the near future, or things keep changing to delay that?
I think at the rate that it's going, soon will not be our definition of soon,
So,
because the defendant side has to do things according to what the orders of the court says and not try to circumvent that for benefits that would benefit the school system but yet hurt some in the process. Under the 14th Amendment, equality is one of the most important things in that 14th Amendment. And what I mean by that, if you're putting something on the south end of the parish, kids on the north end must be given that same equitable opportunity to do that. And in a lot of areas, that's not being done. And I give you a for instance. At Hammond Junior High, and somebody might say, well, you keep harping about Hammond Junior High. I'm doing that because I'm in it and I see what the problems are. When you look at the fact that 7th and 8th grade are only at Hammond Junior High, and I think at Ponchatoula High, when kids come to Hammond Junior High from the 6th grade, the teachers, the lead teachers, must spend 1/2 semester trying to prepare them to get the courses that are offered at Hammond Junior High in the 7th grade. Well, we feel that if just the 6th grade was added to that school, that would give Mr. Perry a whole year to work with the children, or if the 5th grade, that would give that 5th grade student at least 4 years of being in a school where they will automatically transcend to the next grade, prepared for whatever has to be. And by the time they make it from the 8th grade to the 9th grade at Hammond High, they will be prepared to keep going on. And if you track those children's education with the high numbers that are sent to Hammond High now, the scores at Hammond High are going to go through the roof. And that's what we're trying to push for now.
uh, at Hammond Junior High, they have made great strides at that school. And the leap scores went up one year. He turned the failing school around.
Hmm.
And yet he's still having problems trying to get certain things done. Uh, do you have an indication why?
Sometimes, to answer your question, there's really no reason why it's not being done, because it can be done. An example is the science labs that he has at that school. They are so inadequate, but he was able to take what he had and make it work for the children. And as a result of that, you had more kids who were in components of that STEM program, English language arts, math, and science, who got what they needed, and their grades went from a minimum of 3.0 to 4.0, and there was a large majority of kids who did that. But if you have somebody that feels, well, I'm not going to do it because it's Pat Morris doing it or somebody else doing it, take me out of the equation. This is about the kids and what they need. They need a lab. They
Yes.
need 2 labs, 7th grade and 8th grade, because what they had is what was left from Hammond, Greenville Park, I believe it was. So when you take that into account and you look at what's going on and how it's hurting the kids, it's not going to hurt me either way, but it is hurting the kids. So until that is done right, we're going to still fight.
As I recall, when I was at Greenville Park High, they didn't have a lab at all.
Right.
It's-
Well, at some point they put one in, but what was put in was totally inadequate. And one, I think it's the 8th grade lab, they had to just shut it down because it was nothing there. And the one in the 7th grade, I believe it is so small. I had an opportunity to go in, and I see kids making things work with cardboard boxes and all that, and that shouldn't be, because you don't find that in Ponchatoula, you don't find it in so many other schools in the parish, but you find it there, and that's where the inequality part comes in and keeps them in court.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the test scores.
Wow.
I know you're a great advocate of it, and it's about raising the test scores. And this new round of test scores, I think they are out now.
Hmm.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
What I'd like to do is just tell your audience where they can go and find it. If you would Google the Louisiana Department of Education and go to their accountability section, and it will show 2013-14 test scores. Click that on, and just there are different links that will tell you, and find Tangipahoa Parish, find the school, and you'll be able to see for yourself. And you're going to be shocked a little bit when you see a lot of stuff that sometimes you're told they're doing so well, and in reality they're not when the test scores are released. But when you talk about Common Core, you got a lot of people who really either don't understand it or don't want it. But Common Core, much of it is what you and I had when we were all in school, just learning what you need to learn. Reading, writing, arithmetic is what it boils down to. And if we can do that and teach our kids, and it's not that hard. It isn't that hard. If teachers are doing it, then you will see a vast difference, and Hammond Junior High, again, has proven that it can work.
Okay, the education system here, we got athletics, and they put a lot of emphasis on athletic.
Mm-hmm.
And in the past, we've had kids, they was on the team,
Mm-hmm.
but their grades wasn't too good. They wasn't studying like they should.
Right.
But in some cases, that have turned around. Can you give me an instance at what school that has happened in?
Well, when you look at, say, Amite High, I mean, everybody knows the story of Coach Alden Foster and what was going on when he became the coach and how he became the coach. If we look at the Louisiana High School Athletics Association, at one time they were saying that you only needed a 1.5 to play sports. Well, to me, that was a discouragement to kids who let them know, well, I don't have to do anything. I just get a F average is what it really boils down to. Or if you round it up, it's a D average. But the thing is, when they leave high school, if they're chosen to play professional football, or they won't go to a college, because with a 1.5, you're not going to score high enough on the ACT test unless you're just doing it just to play football. But when you get out in life, or if you're fortunate enough to go to college, you're going to flunk out. Or if you get chosen to play professional ball and you get hurt, then the pros are going to be finished with you. So what are you going to do?
Miss Pat, time is up, and it was nice talking with you, and we hope that you come back again and talk to us again.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Pines.
Okay, thank you. This is the Ed Show.